to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, baseball fans? Back at it with another New York Mets video. I am a huge New York Met fan. Haven't been able to do a ton of content, but this is a video that needs to go up, and I will have a lot more Met content up during the winter meetings. The Mets, coming off a year in which they won 86 games, decided to go ahead and fire manager Mickey Callaway, who was not really getting the job done with the Mets. Especially when you factor in that guys like Pete Alonso were getting the job done. Jeff McNeil had a surprise year. Yes, we had some injuries with Cespedes and obviously Brandon Nimmo. And some of the pitchers did not perform as highly as we had expected, specifically in the bullpen. And that was supposed to be Mickey Callaway's strength, the handling of a pitching staff. Well, Noah Syndergaard didn't really achieve what you would have hoped. Zach Wheeler had a great second half the year before. Did not really perform well, so the Mets decided to move on. And the manager that I was in favor of was Joe Girardi. The Mets supposedly brought him in for an interview, but did not show a ton of interest. Now, Joe Girardi definitely had some run-ins with upper management at places that he had been at before, whether it be the New York Yankees, whether it be the Marlins. Even though he was a great manager, won a World Series with the Yankees, and won a Manager of the Year with the Marlins. So that was the guy. I felt like this was a team that was ready to compete. Coming off 86 wins, you got a very strong lineup, a good pitching staff. Need to improve that bullpen. Instead, the Mets decide to go with former New York Met great Carlos Beltran. Carlos Beltran is headed to the Hall of Fame one day, and it will be as a New York Met, which will be funny because there is a good chance, if he does work out as the manager, that he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame while still managing for the New York Mets. And I think he will go in as a Met. He spent about half of his time here with the Mets and had his best statistical years. Now, some Met fans loved Carlos Beltran, some hated him. Now, when you look at the statistics and how he produced, he is probably one of the few New York Mets that lived up to a free agent contract. I'm talking about a big free agent contract, and he certainly did. In 2006, the year that the New York Mets probably had their best team since I've been watching them, they should have won the World Series that year. Beltran would have won the MVP had he not broken down the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season. He hit 41 home runs, which at the time tied the team mark, which of course Pete Alonso broke last year in his rookie season. He was a terrific 5-tool player, one of the best switch hitters in baseball, and a phenomenal center fielder. None of that applies to being a baseball manager, and I hope it works out. One thing I will say about Beltran was he was always a very heads-up player. He was always willing to do the things that he thought needed to be done to win a baseball game, whether it be a sacrifice bunt, whether it be stealing third base. He had, I think at the time when he was acquired by the Mets, I don't know if he finished that way, the highest stolen base percentage in the history of baseball, meaning that when he went for a base, he normally got it. He was not thrown out, which I think is an important attribute for a baseball manager. It shows that he has intelligence. He knows when to take those chances, and hopefully it translates. Usually, great players do not make great managers. Hopefully that is not the case with the New York Mets. I think the Mets got a guy that they think is young and could grow up with the team and is thought to be an icon. It's just ironic because I don't think a lot of Met fans love Beltran. Some do, myself included. I was a big Beltran fan. I'm not necessarily a big fan of him being a manager, but I'll wait and I'll reserve judgment. I was not a fan of Mickey Callaway. Even though I was excited when the Mets first brought him in, but things just did not work out here. The Mets are too talented to miss the playoffs this year. And Beltran will take over a team, much like Willie Randolph did, that is ready to compete right away. We'll see what Beltran has, and we'll see if the New York Mets made the right decision. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.